It's more than a little dumb to try to break the law in any way. Most of you know that and are okay with the social construct. There's a reason our civilization has these rules, and that's so that things don't devolve into absolute anarchy. But there is a certain subsection of criminality that is wildly, recklessly dumb. It's honestly almost funny how bad these people are at committing crimes, and the capers themselves aren't exactly the caliber of Ocean's 11. No, these are dumb crimes carried out by dumb people. Number 9. Two guys steal a penguin from SeaWorld, Australia. The SeaWorld in Queensland, Australia is home to some 29 fairy penguins, named so because of their adorable small size. They're about a foot high, which apparently made a trio of bandits think that they could just hijack the little fella. In 2012, those three men broke into the park under the cover of night and stole Dirk, one of those adorable fairy penguins. Their motive was unclear, but a day later Dirk was found under a nearby pier. The thieves then showed their utter stupidity by going on social media and bragging about stealing a protected zoo animal. Not surprisingly, the police were quick to find them and arrest them. Number 8. Serial burglar leaves his own evidence at the scene of the crime. Burglars usually have a pretty long body of work. If they're good at it, they need to scratch that itch often. Andre Henry was one of those people. Henry had already earned probation for breaking into offices in the Northern Virginia area, but that didn't stop him from burgling as much of the metro Washington, D.C. area as possible. He hit dozens of D.C. area offices in 2012 and 2013, including the Office of the Federal Coordinator for Meteorological Services and supporting research for whatever reason. He didn't find much of that location, just a digital picture frame and some collector coins. But he left so much more, namely his own personal court records with his name on them relating to his previous burglary crimes. The authorities had a slam dunk case and Henry was sentenced to 18 years in prison. Number 7. Man robs hot dog stand, shoots off own wiener. It takes a certain amount of criminal incompetence to decide to rob a hot dog stand in the first place. I mean, how much money could there really be hiding in that register when your wares barely cost more than a couple of dollars? Terry and Pouncey didn't care though, he just wanted that sweet hot dog money. The teenager robbed 2 employees of the stand as well, but he saved the best for last. As he was trying to collect their money and belongings, a bucket of grease tipped over and everything went flying. As Pouncey struggled to gather up the cash and make his getaway, he attempted to tuck his gun into his waistband. Unfortunately for him, and probably hilariously his victims, he then accidentally shot himself in the penis. He made it across the street, but then slumped to the ground due to his injury and then basically called 911 on himself. The cops didn't have to work too hard to put 2 and 2 together. Number 6. Guy scams Del Taco and then posts it to YouTube. When you're trying to scam money out of a potential mark, your mark of success is usually the amount of money you're able to swindle. When the amount of money you netted is around $15, you likely did something wrong along the way. Robert Echevarria thought he found a foolproof system of making complaints to get free Del Taco food. He would call up a Los Angeles area location saying he was an important businessman and that he had let Del Taco's corporate folks know that he was served an improper order. The workers at the restaurant must have panicked at his supposed status in the world and offered him free food. Echevarria thought this technique was so amazing that he posted it to YouTube and even mentioned his personal phone number in the video. Police, they really loved that, and he was sentenced to 30 days in jail and he's been banned from Del Taco. Number 5. Man tries to Mission Impossible into Nightclub. If you've ever been removed from a nightclub before, it's an embarrassing situation all round. Most people who have been through that understandably don't keep trying to visit that same club. Hugh McMahon of Ireland isn't most people. While visiting an Australian club during an extended stay in the country, he found himself twice on the receiving end of forcible removals by the venue's bouncers. Hugh McMahon persisted. He thought long and hard about how to elude those pesky security folks. His plan? Well, that was to sneak in through the air conditioning vents like Bruce Willis in Die Hard, which, if you've seen any HVAC equipment in your life, you know those ducts are not very big. He of course got stuck, the clubgoers heard his screams, and the police were called. Number 4. Would-be robber robs gun store with baseball bat. A true stick-em-up that you've seen portrayed in movies and TV usually involves a masked man bursting into an establishment, pointing a gun in a poor cashier's face, demanding all the money in the register. Regardless of its morality, it's probably a mostly effective method. Derek Mosley never saw any of those shows or films though. The Oregon man entered a store and began smashing display cases with a baseball bat that and began reaching into them to steal the items inside, which were guns. Because he was attempting to rob a gun store, the manager of the store obviously had access to said guns, and he used one to halt the would-be thief. He kept the man subdued until the authorities arrived, who then probably laughed until they passed out. Number 3. Man buys crack cocaine, is given the wrong change, and tries to press charges. Sometimes people buy drugs, and they may not have the exact amount of money that those drugs cost. This becomes a sticky situation. The onus should be on the buyer to bring the right amount of money, because drug buying isn't like getting a loaf of bread or paying a bus fare. But, things happen. Dexter White of South Carolina ran into this problem when trying to purchase some crack cocaine in 2011. He wanted $60 worth, but upon investigation was only given $20. When asking the dealer for his change, he was denied. Caveat emptor in action there. His bright idea was to contact the police and demand that he receive his $40 back. He even requested a canine unit to be sent to the location. Of course, he did smoke his $20 worth before making the call, and he was arrested. Number 2. Burglar cooks tater tots in victim's home, passes out. One rule of thumb that every burglar should know is to do your breaking in on a full stomach. Seriously, the adrenaline of it all demands that you have calories to spare in your body. James Adams neglected this crucial rule before burglarizing a house near San Francisco in 2015, and he paid the price. Adams must have noticed some tummy rumbles after breaking into the house that afternoon, because shortly after his illegal entrance, he decided to raid the freezer and cook up some tater tots, which, well, they take some time to bake in the oven. He must have done some damage with those tots, because he immediately fell asleep on the victim's sofa afterwards. The homeowner walked in on him snoozing and ran to a neighbor's house to call the police. Number 1. Taliban member turns himself in to attempt to get a $100 reward. Have you ever wished that you could come across one of those famous wanted posters and then soon after be able to report seeing the culprit? I mean, that would be pretty cool. You're literally helping to keep scum off the streets and making money. Afghani Taliban member Mohammed Ashan thought that he had come across a similar score, but the reality was not as glorious as he thought it would be. Ashan approached a security checkpoint with a wanted poster and asked for the $100 reward that was listed on it. The police were understandably confused, as Ashan was clutching a picture of himself. As part of the Taliban, he was also suspected of being a part of several recent bombings. They were happy to take him into custody. And just as a public service, if you see yourself on a poster and you've broken the law, no, you don't get the money for recognizing yourself. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below, and don't forget to subscribe. Brand new videos just like this every day of the week. For more from me, why not check out another channel I do called Biographics, biographies of notable people from history, linked to below. And thank you for watching.